Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah everyone for joining. I hope this course is beneficial on everything that's taught today. Inshallah, we'll begin. Okay, before we move on, inshallah, to our lesson, inshallah, we're just going to go over some questions from our previous lesson, inshallah. So you can use the chat option to, inshallah, answer the question. Question number one, inshallah. Why were prophets made shepherds? If anyone could answer on the chat option. Why were all prophets, majority of the prophets, why were they made shepherds? Why did Allah make them a shepherd? Why did they go through this training of being a shepherd? If someone wrote hard pass so they can lead a community, mashallah, they can become a leader, very good. Other brothers could, if others could add some points on, inshallah, to teach them to lead the community, mashallah, very good. Because if you were to lead a nation, you will need to learn how to lead. Yes, mashallah. Those answering, mashallah, some of you are answering privately, you can answer publicly to everyone so others can see your answers, inshallah. So if they never knew that point, inshallah, they can understand as well. Yeah, mashallah, everyone wrote very good points so they can lead a community. Just like a shepherd has to look after his herd, a prophet has to look after his people, and every sheep is different, okay? So everyone will be different as well. Mashallah, very good. Question 2, what is Harb al-Fijar? So what were the battles of evil? If anyone could just comment on them. Did the Prophet was he present in these battles? Did he take part in these battles? What did he do in these battles? Did he fight, or how was he how did he partake in these battles? Anyone could? Yes, mashallah. He wasn't present, but he helped out. Mashallah. Someone he collected arrows. Very good. He gave arrows to his uncles. Mashallah. Yes. So he wasn't physically in the battle, because why wasn't he physically in the battle? Why wasn't he physically in the battle? Why wasn't he physically fighting? Because this fight wasn't for, mashallah, because this fight wasn't for the pleasure of Allah, mashallah. Question number 3, inshallah. Why don't we know much about the Prophet's life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam's life in Mecca? So most of his life in Mecca, why isn't it recorded? Why isn't it in the Seerah books we read now? Majority of his life in Mecca, why isn't it recorded? Or why hasn't there been many events recorded? Someone, because he wasn't famous. You can say anything else? Because the people of Mecca, he did, man. The people of Makkah couldn't read or write. Remember, the people of Makkah couldn't read or write, so they couldn't document anything. Also, no one knew he's going to become a prophet. Not everyone, but most people didn't know he's going to grow up to become a prophet. So there was no point of them writing about a normal youth, a normal young man growing up. Okay. Question 4. What is Hilf al-Fudul? What was this Hilf al-Fudul that was made? MashaAllah, to make sure everyone gets paid. Yes. Anything else? Equality, a foundation led by Zubair ibn Awam, treated equally. It wasn't Zubair ibn Awam. Okay, it was Zubair, the uncle of the Prophet. Zubair ibn Awam was the son of the Prophet's auntie, Safiya. Treated equally, mashallah. So everyone gets it right, whether you're poor, whether you come from a different country. Yes, the less fortunate ones, everyone gets the right, mashallah. Question 5, what were the 2 names given to our Prophet ﷺ due to his amazing characteristics? So mashallah, most of you are answering. If I could get everyone to give some answers, inshallah. Truth teller, mashallah. What were the names given? One was As-Sadiq and one was Al-Amin, the truthful, mashallah, and the honest, yeah, mashallah. Okay, question 6. How did the Prophet path cross with Khadija radiallahu anha? MashaAllah, As-Sadiq al-Amin, very good. You gave the Arabic, mashallah. So how did his path cross with Khadija radiallahu anha? Anyone? He did trading for her, mashallah. Very good. He was a shepherd. He did trading for her business. Very good, mashallah. Okay, and moving on to our final question before we move on to our lesson. How many children did the Prophet have and what are their names? If anyone could write the names of the children and how many, mashallah. Abdullah, very good. Someone wrote Abdullah. Ibrahim, Ruqayya, mashallah. Zainab, mashallah. Anyone else wants to participate? Fatima, very good, mashallah. 7 children, very good. Kulthum, mashallah. Yes, very good. So he had 7. Qasim, very good. Yes. So he had 7 children. Yes. Kulthum has been mentioned, mashallah. Ruqayya, very good, mashallah. Okay, inshallah. What we're gonna do is, inshallah, we're gonna inshallah, we're gonna move on to our lesson. Inshallah, someone is joining on. That's fine, inshallah. We're gonna move on to our lesson, our new lesson for today, inshallah. So last lesson we covered the immediate family of the beloved Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay, we covered his children. Okay, but there were others in his household. Okay, that we haven't covered. Does anyone know any other people that were living in his house? Okay, so we covered his immediate family, his sons, his daughters. There were other people that were living in his house. We're gonna cover them today, inshallah, with a few more other topics. Does anyone know of any other people that were living in his house? The names of anyone else? He had an adopted son, mashallah, Ali, Zaid, yes. He had a son who he took in, yes, Zaid and Ali, mashallah, very good. We're going to be speaking about them, inshallah, so do take some notes. There's very important lessons that will be taught in this lesson, inshallah. Okay. First person we're going to speak about is a young man named Zaid bin Harithah. Now, Zaid bin Harithah, he came from a place in Yemen. His father was Haritha and his mother was Su'da. Now, what happened with Zaid was once he was on a journey with his mother, with his parents, his caravan was attacked. His caravan was attacked, and they took him away and they sold him as a slave. Okay, in Ukaz, and slowly he got moved on. He got sold on until he ended up in the markets of Mecca. Now, a man called Hakim bin Hizam, he purchased Zaid. Okay, he purchased Zaid bin Haritha, and he purchased him for his auntie, who was Khadija radiallahu anha, the wife of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So remember, so Zaid, yes, he was stolen, yes, by some thieves, and he was sold on in the market slowly until he ended up in Mecca. So from Yemen all the way to Mecca, and somehow, by the will of Allah, he was in the hands of Khadija radiallahu anha. And Khadija radiallahu anha, she gifted Zayd to the Prophet ﷺ as a gift. When they got married, she gifted Zayd to Prophet ﷺ as a gift. Now listen carefully what happened now. Now what happened was Zayd radiallahu anha, so Zayd bin Haritha, what happened was he was living with the Prophet ﷺ. Many years went by, his father was looking for him for many years, until when the Hajj season was taking place, some of the people from his tribe, they came to Mecca and they recognized Zayd and they conversed with him, and they found out that this was Zayd bin Haritha after many years. And he said, I am Zayd, and let my father know I'm fine, let my parents know I'm fine, let my family know I'm fine. So these people from Zayd's tribe, they went back to Zayd's father and they said, look, we found Zayd in Mecca. He's being looked after by Muhammad, okay, who is from the tribe of Quraysh, the grandson of Abdul Muttalib. And Zayd's father was really happy to find out that his son is still alive. Imagine after many years you're finding out that your son is still alive. He probably thought that Zayd is no more. And Zayd's father and Zayd's uncle, they went to Makkah to go and speak to Muhammad to try to get their son back. And when Zayd's father came, obviously he asked people, who is Muhammad, how is he? And everyone in Makkah was saying Muhammad is a noble man, he's a trustworthy person, he's an honest person, such a good person, everything. Because this was before he became a prophet. So he wasn't known as Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the prophet. He wasn't known as the prophet. So Zayd's father, eventually, and his uncle, they met Prophet Muhammad and they asked and they requested Prophet Muhammad, said that you're from a high lineage, okay? You are the son of Abdullah, the son of Abdul Muttalib and everything. And they said, I am here to take my son Zayd, and I will pay you a ransom fee. I will pay you a fee to buy my son off you, okay? Because he's your slave now. And the Prophet said, no, you don't have to pay me, okay? You don't have to pay me, but let's give the choice to Zayd. Let's give the choice to Zayd and let Zayd choose. If he wants to go back with you, he can go for free. And if he wants to stay with me, then I won't turn him away. I will have to look after him, okay? Because I've looked after him for a very long time. Now Zayd, he was staying with the Prophet for quite some time, quite a few years, about 10 or more years. So he built a very close connection and a relationship with the Prophet, and he saw that the Prophet was an amazing person, how he treated his slaves, how he treated his wives, how he treated his children and everything. So he said, how can I, this is what Zayd is saying, he said, how can I prefer anybody else to you? You are everybody for me, including my father and my uncle. And that touched Prophet so much that he went and he took Zayd next to the Kaaba, and in front of everyone, he told everyone that Zayd is my son. Okay, today I have adopted Zayd, and Zayd is my son, and he will be known as Zayd bin Muhammad. Okay, and he told everyone that I have freed Zayd. So now his father, Zayd's father, who's going to return back to his hometown, he has some contentment, some peace that Zayd, my son, he's in good hands. Okay, he's in good hands, and he's not a slave anymore. He's a freed person. Okay, so the Prophet made him his son, and he called him Zayd bin Muhammad. But later on, some time later, after some time, okay, after a few years or many years, Allah revealed a verse in Surah Ahzab. Okay, Allah said, "Ud'uuhum li'aba'ihim huwa aqsatu 'inda Allah." That let your adopted children keep their family names. That is more just in the sight of Allah. So from then on, that's why we know him as Zayd bin Harithah. We don't know him as Zayd bin Muhammad. Okay, we're going to speak about adoption and fostering in Islam in a bit, inshallah. But the Prophet named him Zayd bin Muhammad, and many companions were shocked. You know, Abdullah ibn Umar, who was the son of Umar radiallahu an, he said, obviously he wasn't there at the time when Zayd was young. He said, we've always known Zayd to be Zayd bin Muhammad. We didn't know about Zayd bin Haritha. We always known him as Zayd bin Muhammad until the verse was revealed. The verse was revealed, Surah Ahzab, which is Surah 33, verse number 5. "Ud'uuhum li'aba'ihim huwa aqsatu 'inda Allah." Let your adopted children keep their family name. That is more just in the sight of Allah. That's when we found out that Zayd, yeah, his father is Haritha, a different man, not Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And inshallah, we're going to speak about adopting and fostering. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions, or we're okay to move on, inshallah? We're okay to move on, inshallah? That's fine, inshallah. Okay, now adoption and fostering in Islam, what is the difference? Okay, the difference is in adoption, when you adopt someone, you actually end up, when you adopt someone, you change the name of that person. So you cut off the lineage. So you cut off the boy or girl's father's name and mother's name. You cut the lineage off and you replace that with your name. And with fostering, you just take care of the child. So fostering is allowed in Islam. Adoption is not. You cannot cut the lineage of the person or the boy or the girl you take in to your care. So adoption is not allowed in Islam, and you cannot just cut the lineage of the person you look after. It is mentioned in the Quran, "Ud'uuhum li'aba'ihim huwa aqsatu 'inda Allah," that call your adopted children by their father's name, by their father's name. And another thing was to mention is, this is something that the Prophet ﷺ, okay, loved so much that he said, me and the guardian of an orphan or someone who looks after an orphan are like, will be like this in Jannah. Okay, so he put these two fingers up and he said, me and the guardian, okay, me and the guardian of the orphan will be like this in Jannah, this close in Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ was an orphan himself, okay. He lost his mother at 4. He lost his mother at 6. He lost his father before he was born. He lost his grandfather at 8. He was an orphan, okay, and he knows how it is growing as an orphan. So someone who adopts, someone who fosters a child, especially if an orphan, it's an amazing reward. There's so much reward in it. And look at this relationship between Zayd and the Prophet ﷺ, he was a slave to the Prophet ﷺ, okay? If that was us, we would treat our slaves like dogs. We would make them work all day. But the Prophet ﷺ had an amazing relationship with Zayd. That how did he choose slavery over freedom? How did he choose the Prophet ﷺ over his own family? His own family he hasn't seen for many years. He chose the Prophet ﷺ over his family. That shows how the Prophet ﷺ was with the people around him. He was amazing. Okay. Also, Zayd was the first slave to accept Islam. Okay, Zayd was the first slave to accept Islam. He was one of the first Muslims. Okay, later on he was married to Ayman. Does anyone know who Ayman is? Anyone want to write in the chat option who Ayman is? Ayman was Barakah. Does anyone know who Barakah is? Does that make it easier? Barakah, and later on famously known as Ayman. Anyone? Barakah was the slave of Amina. You know when Amina passed away in Abwa, Muhammad Islam, he returned with Barakah. Does that ring any bells? Yeah. She was the slave woman that brought the Prophet Islam back to Mecca from Medina when his mother passed away. So he married Barakah. Zayd married Barakah, and they had a son called Usama bin Zayd, who's a very famous companion. Okay, inshallah, you can learn about him in your own time. We're not going to go into detail about him, inshallah. Zayd radiallahu anhu was the leader of many battles, such as the Battle of Mu'tah and many other battles. Okay. Now, an amazing fact about Zayd radiallahu anhu is that he's the only companion of the Prophet وسلم, mentioned by name in the Quran. Okay, his name is explicitly mentioned. This is the only time a companion's name is explicitly mentioned in the Quran. And if you can see in Surah Ahzab, verse 37, Allah says, فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا. Zayd is mentioned in the Quran. I've underlined it in red. Does anyone know any other companions that are mentioned by pronoun? Anyone else? Any other companions that are mentioned in the Quran, maybe by pronoun? Anyone know any? Famous incident about the cave. Anyone know? Okay. So the famous incident about the cave was Abu Bakr, mashallah, very good. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, yes, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was, mashallah, those who answered, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was mentioned, yes, that ثاني اثنين إذ هما في الغار, that he was with the Prophet inside the cave. Okay, when they were just about to migrate, he was in the cave. So he is mentioned by pronoun, or he's referred to. Okay, many other companions were referred to or mentioned by pronouns. Zayd was explicitly mentioned, his name was in the Quran, the only companion. So that was Zaid bin Harithah. We're going to move on, inshallah, to another companion who grew up with the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, Ali bin Abi Talib. Okay, Ali bin Abi Talib, he grew up in the household of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay. So he was the cousin brother of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, he was the cousin brother of the Prophet ﷺ. He was the son of Abu Talib, who was the uncle, who was the brother of Abdullah, the son of Abdul Muttalib. So Abu Talib was very poor. Yes, we know how he raised the Prophet ﷺ up. He looked after the Prophet ﷺ from the age of 8 until all the way to 50. That's 42 years. He was a very poor person, but he done so much for the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ wanted to repay this favor back. So the Prophet ﷺ went to Abbas. Abbas was one of his other uncles, yes? And Abbas was more rich, okay, compared to Abu Talib. And he told Abbas that let's help Abu Talib out. Let's take care of his children. So Abbas agreed to take care of Ja'far. Ja'far was another child of Abu Talib, Ali's elder brother. Ja'far was around 15 at that time. And the Prophet ﷺ agreed to take care of Ali. And this was just relieving some of the burden of Abu Talib, that he doesn't have to look after and feed too many now, okay? Because two are in the care of his nephews. One was in his nephew's care, Muhammad Islam, and one was with his brother Abbas. Ali also is one of the 10 guaranteed Jannah. There were 10 Sahaba that were guaranteed Jannah. Can anyone name any other Sahabas that were guaranteed Jannah? There were 10 altogether guaranteed Jannah. There were many other Sahaba that are guaranteed Jannah. Okay, but in one sitting, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, in one sitting, the Prophet ﷺ said, these 10 will go to Jannah. MashaAllah. Abu Bakr, very good. Talha bin Ubaidillah, MashaAllah. Any others? So like Khadija radiallahu anha was guaranteed Jannah. But these 10 were mentioned in one sitting. Umar, MashaAllah, very good. Zubair bin Awam, MashaAllah, very good. Okay. Uthman, MashaAllah. So there were 10 companions that were guaranteed Jannah. So Ali bin Abi Talib was one of them. The four Khalifas, the four caliphs were part of it, and there were 6 others. Okay. He was given the title Lion of Allah. So he was given the title of Lion of Allah, and we know that Hamza radiallahu anhu, Hamza radiallahu anhu, who was the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, he was also given this title. Umar bin Khattab, yes, mashallah. So Hamza radiallahu anhu was also given this title, Lion of Allah, Asadullah. Ali was also given this title. This was given due to his bravery. Okay, he was very decisive. He was very decisive that he would make his decisions very good. Okay, many Sahaba they spoke about his decisions that he was very decisive. Okay, he would make the right decision and he would be calm. He was simple and he possessed many other qualities. The Prophet gave him a nickname Abu Turab. Does anyone know why he was given this nickname Abu Turab, the father of sand, the father of dust, the father of earth? Does anyone know why he was given this title? So the Prophet gave him this title Abu Turab. Okay, that he called him the father of dust or the father of sand or the father of earth. Does anyone know why? That's fine, inshallah. I'll explain that. Once the Prophet ﷺ went to his daughter's house. So Ali radiallahu anh was married to Fatima. So once the Prophet ﷺ went to Fatima's house and he asked for Ali and Ali wasn't there and he asked Fatima, where is Ali? And he found out that they had a bit of an argument. So Ali, he went away for a bit. And he found out that Ali was inside the masjid. They went to the masjid and he found Ali to be lying down inside the masjid. Okay, he was lying down inside the masjid and he had lots of dust and earth and soil over him because back in the days our masjid is made of carpet. Okay, you can sleep in the masjid nowadays because it's made of carpet. It's nice and warm. But back in the days, the masjids, what were they made of? Okay, they were made of bamboo sticks. They were made of soil. The ground was soil. It wasn't carpets like nowadays. So he had lots of dust over him, and the Prophet said, "O father of sand, O father of dust, wake up." Okay, and he named him Abu Turab, and this was a nickname that Ali radiallahu an he really liked. Every time the Prophet called him Abu Turab, he would smile. He was really happy with that. So this was Ali radiallahu an. He was known to be brave, decisive, simple, and he possessed many, many good qualities. He was with the Prophet from the age of 5 for a very long time. So he saw the Prophet talk, how he spoke, how he conducted himself, how he would eat and everything, and he picked up a lot of things from the Prophet. He was very close to the Prophet. First of all, he was his cousin brother. He was staying in his house, and later on he became his son-in-law. He married the Prophet's daughter, Fatima. Now, any questions before we move on to our next slide? Any questions? We're okay to move on, inshallah? That's fine, inshallah. Okay. The next slide, inshallah, we're going to carry on talking about Ali radiallahu anhu. He was the first cousin of our Prophet ﷺ. We spoke about that, as well as his son-in-law. Okay, he was married to Fatima. He was also the youngest person to accept Islam. So at the very beginning, okay, when Khadija radiallahu anha, she accepted Islam, she was the first woman. Okay, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu also accepted Islam. Zaid bin Harithah also accepted Islam. Ali radiallahu anhu was also one of the first to accept Islam. He was the youngest person. Okay, he was like the young. He was the first child to accept Islam. Now the picture you see on the screen is Ali radiallahu, a picture of Ali radiallahu anhu's sword. It was named 𝗃𝗿𝗄𝗏. Okay, this sword was a very unique sword. If you can see the shape of this sword, okay, it has like two pointy parts coming out. That's the way of his sword, and it's helped him in many battles. Okay, in the Battle of Badr, he defeated the enemy with this one when he had the duel with the opposing army. This name was the name of the sword was 𝗃𝗿𝗄𝗏, which was given to him by our Prophet ﷺ in the Battle of Uhud, and it was presented by Angel Jibril after an order from Allah. The Prophet ﷺ, after giving him the sword, said, "There is no hero like Ali. there is no sword like 𝗃الفقار. He was also the fourth caliph of Islam. He was the fourth Khalifa. So Abu Bakr first, then Umar, then Uthman bin Affan, and then Ali bin Abi Talib. Okay, he ruled for about 5 years. And his sons that are famous, he had three sons, but the two that were really famous were Hassan and Hussein. They are the masters of youngsters in Jannah. He was martyred. So Ali radiallahu anhu, okay, he was martyred. He was killed. He was killed, and he was killed and he died in the month of Ramadan. Whilst he was going for Fajr prayer, he was martyred. Okay, I'm not gonna go too much into that story, inshallah. If time allows us later, inshallah, we'll speak about that. But he was martyred, so he is a shaheed, he's a martyr, and he is buried in Kufa in Iraq. Okay, we're gonna move on, inshallah. So these were the two people that were living in the house of the Prophet ﷺ. One was Zaid bin Harithah, one was Ali bin Abi Talib, and another one was Baraka, who was Ayman. We kind of touched upon about her. She was a slave of Amina, who was the one that took the Prophet ﷺ back from Medina to Mecca when Amina passed away. Now, inshallah, we're going to speak about his grandchildren and his son-in-laws, inshallah. Does anyone have any questions before we speak about that? Is everything okay? If you could write yes, if you're understanding everything. If there's anything you haven't understood, if you could just write yes, if you've understood everything so far, or if you want me to explain a certain slide. Everyone's okay in understanding, inshallah? That's fine, inshallah. Okay, that's fine. So Hassan, Hussein, Muhsin, Zainab, and Kulthum were the children of Ali radiallahu an, and his wife Fatima, who was the daughter of the Prophet. So the Prophet had 5 grandchildren with Fatima, who was married to Ali radiallahu an. He had 2 grandchildren that were named Ali and Umama. Okay, they were the children of Zainab, the daughter of the Prophet, and she was married to Abu al-As bin Rabi' radiallahu an. And he had another grandchild called Abdullah, okay, who was the son of Ruqayya, who was married to Uthman bin Affan, the third caliph, okay, the one before Ali radiallahu an. He had his son-in-laws, okay, his son-in-laws. Ali bin Abi Talib, like we said, he was married to Fatima radiallahu anha. Abu al-As bin Rabi' radiallahu an, he was married to Zainab radiallahu anha. Uthman bin Affan, yes, Uthman bin Affan, he was married to 2 of the Prophet's daughters, not at once, but he was married to Ruqayya at first. When Ruqayya radiallahu anha passed away, then he was married to Kulthum. And the Prophet said, after Kulthum passed away, the Prophet said, if I had a third daughter, I would have given her to Uthman. Does anyone know Uthman's nickname or Uthman's name the Prophet gave him? Because he married 2 of the Prophet's daughters, he was given a name. Does anyone know what the name is? He was given the name Din Nurayn. Yes, he was given the name Din Nurayn, the possessor of 2 lights, because he married 2 of the Prophet's daughters. Okay, Ruqayya and Kulthum. So he was given the name Din Nurayn, the possessor of 2 lights. Now, an amazing fact that most people don't know is that Ruqayya was actually married to Utbah and Kulthum was married to Utaybah. Yeah, they were the sons of Abu Lahab. Can anyone remind everyone who Abu Lahab is? Who is Abu Lahab? So Utbah and Utaybah, they were the sons of Abu Lahab. They were actually married to Ruqayya and Kulthum. And Abu Lahab told his sons to leave the daughters of Abu Lahab. Does anyone know who Abu Lahab is? If you could just write down who Abu Lahab is. Enemy of the Prophet. Very good. Anything else? Enemy. What was his relationship with the Prophet? The uncle, mashallah, very good. The uncle of the Prophet, very good. Uncle, yes, mashallah. He was such an enemy, such a cruel and evil enemy. He was the uncle of the Prophet. We're going to learn about him, inshallah, in the Seerah later on, how Allah humiliated him and what he would do. This man, Abu Lahab, he would go around, yes, opposing the Prophet as much as he can. When the Prophet was giving da'wah and he was preaching people to Islam, he would walk behind the Prophet and he would say, that is my nephew. Okay, whatever he said to you, don't listen to him. He's a madman. And he would throw stones behind the Prophet. and he would oppose the Prophet at any chance he got, he would go against the Prophet. Now, before the Prophet became a prophet, Abu Lahab obviously treated him as a nephew. He gave his son 𝗃𝗏 to get married to Kulthum. No, he gave 𝗃𝗏 to get married to Ruqayya, and he gave 𝗃𝗏 to get married to Kulthum. A very amazing story took place. So when Abu Lahab found out that the Prophet is claiming that he's a prophet, he told his sons to leave the Prophet's daughters. So 𝗃𝗏, he went and he divorced Ruqayya. Yeah. Now look, listen to what 𝗃𝗏 did. Everyone, listen to this very carefully. 𝗃𝗏, he went to Kulthum and he divorced her, and he spat at the Prophet ﷺ, and he ripped the shirt of the Prophet ﷺ. And because of that, the Prophet ﷺ said, he made a dua against him. He said, Allahumma sallit alayhi kalban min kilabik. That, oh Allah, empower upon him a dog from one of your dogs. The Prophet ﷺ, yes, obviously, he just imagine how the Prophet was feeling. Yes, this man came, he divorced my daughter, he spat at me, and he ripped my shirt. Okay, and the person made a dua against him that, oh Allah, empower one of your dogs from your dogs upon him. And this is what happened. Later on, sometime later, 𝗃𝗏 and his father Abu Lahab, they were on a journey, and where they went to a place next to Jordan, okay, and they were camping there for a bit, and there was a monk. Then he said, "Don't camp around here. This place is known for like creatures like lions and everything." So 𝗃𝗏 and Abu Lahab knew that something would happen to 𝗃𝗏. Okay, so they put 𝗃𝗏 in the middle, and they put all the baggage around him, and everyone slept around 𝗃𝗏, so nothing can happen to 𝗃𝗏. Now the creature that came, like a lion-looking creature or something like that, he came and he smelled everyone, and he didn't eat anyone until he went and he smelled and he found 𝗃𝗏, and he ripped 𝗃𝗏 into pieces and he shredded 𝗃𝗏, fully destroyed 𝗃𝗏, and Allah gave 𝗃𝗏 a humiliating death. 𝗃𝗏, the other son, and Abu Lahab's other son, they became Muslims. So 𝗃𝗏 later on became Muslim, and he was present in some battles like the Battle of Hunain. So this just shows us that anyone who tries to oppose the Prophet ﷺ or Allah will give them a humiliating and a very, very bad ending. Okay, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save everyone from this, inshallah. Any questions before we move on to our next slide? So we've spoken about the people that were living in the Prophet's house, his immediate family, Zaid bin Harithah, Ali bin Abi Talib, Barakah Ayman. We spoke about his grandchildren briefly, and we spoke about his son-in-laws. Okay. Now, inshallah, we're going to move on, inshallah, to our next slide. So this is the Prophet is this was before prophethood. Okay. Now the Prophet is coming to about the age of 35. We're coming to the end of our last two slides, inshallah. Rebuilding of the Kaaba. Does anyone know when this happened? Rebuilding of the Kaaba. When did the Prophet rebuild the Kaaba? How old was the Prophet when the rebuilding of the Kaaba took place? Around? Anyone know? 35, mashallah. So the Kaaba, okay, the rebuilding of the Kaaba, okay, the Prophet was about 35 years old when the Quraysh decided to rebuild the Kaaba. Does anyone know why they were rebuilding the Kaaba? What was the reason why? Why did they refurbish the Kaaba? It was weak. Why was it weak? Due to floods. Very good, mashallah. Getting old, yes. It was very old. So let's just go back in time, inshallah. So the foundation of the Kaaba, can anyone answer? Who was the foundation laid by? Who made the foundations of the Kaaba? If we could get others to answer, it's always most of the time it's the same people answering questions. If others could, inshallah, participate. Yes, mashallah. It wasn't Ibrahim alayhi salam, it was Adam alayhi salam. He put the foundations down. Okay, no one knows if he made it into a house structure or a building structure, but he put some foundations down, and that could be the sign of a stick or maybe a mark. So the foundation was put down by Adam alayhi salam, and then upon Adam alayhi salam's foundation, Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Ismail, they built the Kaaba that we know. Now, the third group to rebuild the Kaaba and refurbish the Kaaba was the Quraysh. So the Prophet was around 35 years old, and the Kaaba was the walls of the Kaaba was very weak. Okay, there was floods and stuff like that, and he made the walls very weak. So it was time to refurbish the Kaaba. And now, before refurbishing the Kaaba, why do you think they were scared to touch the Kaaba? Why do you think they were scared to break the Kaaba? Because what happened in the past to someone who tried to break the Kaaba? Abraha, who tried to break the Kaaba before, yes, very good. Abraha, who tried to break the Kaaba before, he was destroyed. He was humiliated by Allah. So what they did was they were looking for a sign. So they sent a man, okay, an elderly man, Walid bin Mughira. They sent him and they told him that you go and break some bricks off and let's see if anything happens to you. Walid, he went and he took some bricks off and he broke some stuff. And the full day went by, the night went by, the next morning Walid was fine. So this was a sign that is fine. You can refurbish the Kaaba, you can rebuild the Kaaba. But there was one condition, that every single penny and every money spent towards it has to be from halal means. Okay? Because the people of Makkah at that time, very good, mashallah. Yes, someone wrote no haram. The people of Makkah, yes, they were known to be obviously they were living in the ignorant times, so they were doing many haram things and many wrong things. So the rule was, the condition was that every single penny invested into the Kaaba was had to be halal money. Now because of that, they never had enough money to build the full structure of the Kaaba. Okay, so whilst they were building the Kaaba, there was a man. So they took all the walls of the Kaaba, and everyone, all the tribes got together, and everyone took a certain part of the Kaaba. So some took this wall, some took the left wall, some took the right wall, some took the back wall, and they just took different parts of the Kaaba and they built the Kaaba. But because they never had enough money, they couldn't build the Kaaba to the original shape as Ibrahim alayhi salam. And whilst they were building the Kaaba, when they were trying to break the full Kaaba down, there was a man who was trying to take the foundation that was laid by Adam alayhi salam off, but a spark came out. So that leave this foundation, build it upon this foundation. So they built the Kaaba, and everything was made. Now it was time to put the black stone on. So the part they couldn't build, Hatim, the part they couldn't build, they put a Hatim. So the Hatim, can you see the white part that comes out? That's the Hatim. That's originally part of the Kaaba. So if you go for Umrah or Hajj and you pray inside that area, then it's like you prayed inside the Kaaba. Now the big task was who puts the black stone on, and that's when the ego and pride took over. Before they were working together, they were all united, all the different tribes were working together. But when it came to putting the black stone on, they got really they let the emotions get the better of themselves. They got the swords out. They were ready to fight. Okay, they were ready to fight, and agree on who would put the black stone on. Until a elderly man, he said, okay, let's set all this as the first person to walk. Okay, tomorrow morning, the first person to walk through the doors to go to the Kaaba, he will decide. And Allah made it that the first person to walk the next morning was our beloved Prophet ﷺ. And when he walked, and they asked him, and his decision was that everyone should take a part in it. So what he done was he got a sheet, and the black stone was placed in the middle of the sheet, and all the chiefs or all the leaders of each tribe, they held a part of that sheet or that towel, so everyone felt like they were doing it together. And once they got to the part where they put the black stone on, the Prophet lifted it up and he put the black stone on. So he made everyone feel like a part of it. He never left anyone out. That was amazing, the wisdom the Prophet had. Now, obviously, the Kaaba couldn't be built as big as how Ibrahim al-Islam and Ismail al-Islam built it due to the funds. They had less funds because there was less halal money. So they just built a part, okay, a semicircle part that comes out, which is known as Hatim now. Now, the fourth time the Kaaba was rebuilt was at the time of Abdullah bin Zubair. Abdullah bin Zubair, he was the grandson of Abu Bakr. Okay, he was the grandson of Abu Bakr. Abu Bakr had two famous daughters. One was Aisha, who was married to the Prophet. Another one was Asma. Okay, Abdullah bin Zubair was the son of Asma. Now, Abdullah bin Zubair, okay, he went to his auntie Aisha and he said, "Oh, auntie, did the Prophet have any desires that he couldn't fulfill on this earth?" And Aisha told him that yes, he had a desire that he wanted the Kaaba to be built in a different way, like slightly different, a few changes. Okay, he wanted the Hatim to be part of the Kaaba, like part of the Kaaba. He wanted the door of the Kaaba. Originally, the door of the Kaaba is very high. He wanted the door to be lowered so others can go in. When the Quraysh built the Kaaba, they put the door very high, so only elite people could go in. You would need a stairs to go in. So the person wanted the door to be lowered. Okay, and so what Abdullah bin Zubair done, he was the caliph at that time. He was the ruler and the Khalifa at that time. So he instructed the people to build the Kaaba the way the Prophet ﷺ wanted it. So the Hatim became originally part of the Kaaba, and the door was lowered so others could enter. Also, another door was put at the back, so you enter with one door and you exit from the other door. And all these wishes of the Prophet ﷺ was fulfilled. Until later on, a man named Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he was sent, okay, by a false caliph to assassinate Abdullah bin Zubair. And he went and with his army, and they destroyed the army of Abdullah bin Zubair, and he assassinated Abdullah bin Zubair, and he hung Abdullah bin Zubair next to the Kaaba, and he destroyed the Kaaba and he rebuilt the Kaaba again, and he reversed all the actions that Abdullah bin Zubair did. So he took the Hatim part back out. So now the Hatim is not proper part of the Kaaba, is semicircle by itself. He raised the door again. Remember, Abdullah bin Zubair, because the Prophet's wish was to lower the door, he lowered the door. But Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he raised the door again and he got rid of the second door. He reversed all the actions that Abdullah bin Zubair did. Okay. And later on in life, a question might arise in everyone's head, that why didn't the Muslims later on change it back to the way that the Prophet wanted? Okay, a famous story of Imam Malik. So Imam Malik was asked, Imam Malik, one of the four Imams, one of the four schools of thoughts. Okay, we know Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahmad, Imam Shafi, and Imam Malik. Imam Malik was asked, why don't we change the Kaaba and make it the way the Prophet desired, the way Abdullah ibn Zubair did it? And Imam Malik said, I don't want it to become like a toy. If we change it now, what if a ruler, a tyrant ruler or evil king comes after us? He's going to reverse our actions. And a good king will come and he will fix it. And another king will come and he will reverse it. Just like Abdullah bin Zubair, he fulfilled the wishes of the Prophet, then Hajjaj bin Yusuf came and reversed it. He will keep going on and on and on, and this Kaaba will become like a toy. It will be getting changed every other day. I don't want it to become like a toy. Let's just leave it how it is. Okay, it's not a big matter, and Allah will deal with Hajjaj bin Yusuf. So that was the story of rebuilding of the Kaaba. There's a bit more left of the rebuilding of the Kaaba that I did mention. Yes, we did mention this part, the fight that broke up, and it was time to put the black stone on. And we all know that the black stone that originally came down before, it was white. This black stone was white, and due to the sins of the people that were transferred onto this stone, okay, it made the stone black. Okay, so that was our that is the end of our Seerah lesson 3. We covered. So quick recap of the lesson, inshallah. So we covered the extended family of the Prophet ﷺ, so those that were living with the Prophet ﷺ, besides his family members. So besides his children, okay, those that were living with him was Zaid bin Harithah, his adopted son, okay, who later on became very close with him. Okay, until Allah obviously revealed that verse that adopted children should keep the family name. So it's now known as Zaid bin Harithah. Okay, his father tried to ransom him. We learned about that, but obviously he chose to stay with the Prophet ﷺ. He's the only companion that is mentioned by name in the Quran. Okay, no other companion was given this amazing privilege to be mentioned by name in the Quran. There's one female name in the Quran. Does anyone know who it is? This is the only main name, okay, for good reasons in the Quran. There's Abu Lahab, obviously, but that was for bad reasons. There's a name of a woman, okay. Does anyone know who it is? Maryam, mashallah, Maryam, yes, Maryam, yes, the mother of Isa. She's given a full surah, which is in Juz, mashallah, which is in Juz number 16. okay, a full surah, Surah Maryam. So Zayd was the leader of many battles. His son is Usama bin Zayd. He was married to Ayman. We learned he was the first slave to accept Islam. We spoke about adoption and fostering in Islam. Why adoption is not allowed, as you are cutting the lineage of the child. Okay, fostering is just looking after the child, but it's a very amazing reward fostering an orphan, especially. Prophet said, me and the garden of an orphan will be like this in Jannah. So everyone should try to make some intention that inshallah in the future they will try to sponsor an orphan or even open up an orphanage in a poor country, inshallah, that orphans could be looked after well. Inshallah, may Allah accept our deeds. We spoke about Ali ibn Abi Talib, that he was the cousin brother. At the age of 5, he grew up in the household of the Prophet ﷺ. Because Abu Talib was really poor, so the Prophet ﷺ and Abbas, they were helping they were helping Abu Talib. Okay, they were just relieving some burden of him. We spoke about the story why he's called Abu Turab, and he's one of those that are guaranteed in Jannah. We spoke about his sword and everything, how he was martyred, and his sword, 𝗃𝗏. The grandchildren were Hassan and Hussein, Muhsin, Zainab, and Kulthum. So we spoke about the grandchildren. The Prophet had many grandchildren. We spoke about his son-in-laws. Okay, and we spoke about how Uthman bin Affan was given the name bin Nurayn because he was the possessor of 2 lights, because he married 2 of the daughters of the Prophet, Ruqayya radiallahu anha and Kulthum. And the Prophet said, if I had a third daughter, I would have given her to Uthman. Okay, and we spoke about how Abu Lahab's sons Uthba and Utayba, how they were married to the Prophet's daughters. This was before prophethood, and they were advised by the father to leave the Prophet's daughters. And we spoke about how Utayba, how he disrespected the Prophet, and how Allah gave him a humiliating ending, how he was killed. Okay, we spoke about the rebuilding of the Kaaba, and it happened. Remember, it happened 5 times in the past. Okay. So once it was Adam alayhi salam, he put the foundations down. Then Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail, they made a house, okay, from that foundation. And then the Quraysh, they rebuilt the Kaaba due to becoming weak. They sent Walid ibn Mughira to break the first brick. So then they are assured that nothing will happen, because they were scared about what happened to Abraha, and then how only halal money was used, because Arabs at that time were very, very evil. Okay, there would be so much stuff in the times of Jahiliyyah. They would bury the daughters alive and many other things. The Prophet came, yes, to them, and he changed them how they were. Okay, they would eat anything. They would marry people. They would steal from people. They would abuse. They were oppressors. They were the worst of people. Okay, imagine that they were the worst of people, but the Prophet came to them and he made them the best of people. So we should um, never ever lose hope and never ever give up. You should never ever think that you're such a bad sinner, okay, and Allah won't forgive. Okay, Allah says, "Inna Allah la yaghfiru dhunuba jami'a." Allah will forgive all sins besides shirk. Okay, so that's an amazing lesson to learn, that how the Sahaba went from the worst of people to the best of people, and this was because they followed the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. They had the Prophet ﷺ as their role model was the Prophet ﷺ. So we should, inshallah, make our role model the Prophet ﷺ. Okay, try to follow him, okay, in everything he did, the way he spoke, the way he dressed, the way he ate, and everything to the best of our ability. Okay, another lesson we can learn is that, Zaid bin Harithah, imagine Zaid bin Harithah, how he was sold as a slave. Imagine a very young boy, he was going, yes, for some happiness. He was going on a family trip. Okay, his caravan was looted, and the thieves took him, a young boy. They sold him. Not once, he got sold and sold and sold until he ended up in the markets of Mecca. Imagine how he felt. It's like Yusuf alayhi salam. Yusuf alayhi salam was found in the well and he was sold in the marketplace. Okay, but what happened to Yusuf alayhi salam? He grew up to become the king of Egypt, and same thing happened to Zayd bin Harithah. He started off very low. Okay, he was sold. He felt very low. He felt like he was nothing. He was sold, and he was sold, and he was passed on. Okay, like an item. But look at the ending. What happened? So much that he came to the hands of the Prophet ﷺ, and he was classed as the son of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ held him very close. The Prophet ﷺ also said that Zayd is my son. he will inherit from me and I will inherit from him. This shows how much the Prophet loved him. For many, many years, he was like that. He was known as Zaid bin Muhammad until Allah said that "Ud'uuhum li'abaihim huwa aqsatu 'inda Allah," that you shouldn't call them by, you should call them by their father's name. Allah likes that more. So many, many lessons we can take from this, and then how the rebuilding of the Kaaba, the Hatim. So inshallah, if we do go for Umrah or Hajj, we should try our best to pray inside the Hatim area. It's like a white area, a white semicircle that comes out. Okay, it does get congested there, but praying in there, okay, try to pray 2 rakats in there. It's like praying inside the Kaaba, and we just learn the story of Abdullah bin Zubair, who was the son of Asma, who was the daughter of Abu Bakr. So Abdullah bin Zubair was the grandson of Abu Bakr. How he rebuilt the Kaaba to the wishes of the Prophet ﷺ. He went to his auntie Aisha and she said the wishes of the Prophet ﷺ. And how Hajjaj bin Yusuf came and he went against, and he reversed the actions of Abdullah bin Zubair. Okay, and he assassinated Abdullah bin Zubair. Okay, and after that, even though the Muslim scholars they wanted to fix it, Imam Malik gave the opinion. Look how clever Imam Malik is and how deep his thinking is. He said that don't fix it. If you fix it, then the person, we don't know, the tyrant after us, the king might reverse our action, and the good king after that might make it how the person wanted, and it's going to keep getting change every other day, and it'll become like a toy. Okay, it'll become like a game, like a joke. And then we learn about how when they were rebuilding the Kaaba, okay, everyone was united and they built all the walls and they were united. They helped each other out. Only halal money was used, and they built it on the foundation of Adam alayhi salam until difference of opinions happened when they were putting the black stone on. Okay, until an elderly man who used his wisdom and he said that, okay, the first person to enter through the doors tomorrow morning will inshallah give us he will give us his advice, and inshallah we will act upon that. And they agreed, and the first man, Allah will, the first man to be the Prophet. So they decided to listen to what the Prophet would say, and the Prophet, he used his wisdom. He could have easily picked the stone up himself and he could have put it on, but why? He wanted everyone to feel a part of it. Okay, because he knew how even though these Arabs they worship idols, they held the Kaaba like to the heart. Okay, the Kaaba was very dear to them. Okay, so he let them all have a share in it. So they all held the cloth until the Prophet he put the black stone on. That's the end of our lesson, inshallah. Next lesson, next Friday, will be our last lesson of Seerah module 2. We'll talk. So right now we're on about the age of about 35. We'll talk about from the age of 35 on up to age of 40. So what happened in that time until he was given prophethood, inshallah. And that will be our last lesson of module 2 before we start module 3, which is the Prophet's life as a prophet in Mecca, which will take place the week after next week. So has anyone have got any questions so far what we've covered today? If you have any questions, you can ask, inshallah. Everyone understand everything that was taught today? I could have some comments, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah, that's fine. So some brothers said yes, mashallah, understood. Okay, good, alhamdulillah. That's fine, inshallah. I hope that this lesson was beneficial, inshallah. And inshallah, I'll see you next Friday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How long did it take for the black stone to become black? Someone asked. Exactly, we don't know. But when it did come down, it was white. All we know, when it came down, it was white. But the sins of the people who obviously kissed here had made this black. So this teaches us a lesson that evil and sins are black, okay, and good is like light. And the more bad we do, the more evil we do, it leaves an effect on our heart until our heart becomes fully black, and we don't have no remorse and no regret to do any evil. We just do evil and we don't think twice. We don't care. We miss Salah. We don't care because our heart has become black. So inshallah, try your best to work on your heart and your nafs, on your soul, inshallah, to try to make it to nafs mutma'inna, the soul which is always at peace. any evil thought comes, you can just delete it. Okay, so this is a very important lesson. That in front of our eyes we see that the stone came from Jannah white, but the sins transferred to it made it black. Okay, so imagine the sins we do every day. So do muhasabah. When you go to sleep, before you go to sleep, think of your day. Okay, did you do more sins today or did you do more good today? Okay, think the good you did today. Today I gave something. Say, imagine today you helped a person on the bus. You helped someone take the shopping back to the house. You donated £5. These good things, make dua to Allah. Oh Allah, help me carry out these good things throughout my life. Now you done some sins. Okay, you saw, you missed Allah, you listened to music. Make a promise to Allah. Oh Allah, inshallah, this won't happen again. If you do muhasabah, accountability every single day, every single night, while you're sitting on your bed, of the day, what happened so far today, then inshallah you will grow as a human being and you will refrain from these sins and you will carry out all the good you've done. Okay, every day we should try our best to become a better person. We have to be better and more productive than the previous day. Like that, inshallah, we will go one step closer to Jannah. We will leave with one more thing: is every single day ask yourself, did I go did I go one step closer to Jannah, or did I go one step closer to Jahannam, or am I where I was yesterday? If you were where you are yesterday, then you have wasted a day. Okay, every single day you can go one step closer to Jannah. So inshallah, Allah makes our path to Jannah easy. We should try our best every single day to be more productive and to be a better Muslim than the previous day, and to take a step forward and a step closer to Jannah. Allah make it easy for us and our beloved ones. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. Leave it there, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.